back to my channel. So today, as you read by the title, I'm going to be doing a review slash demo slash comparison between the new Tati Beauty Blendiful sponge, if you will, versus the original Beauty Blender. So basically, Blendiful came out, I think, like a week ago. I don't know when this is going up, but it did come out in the last few weeks from Tati Beauty, which if you guys don't know, that's Tati Westbrook on YouTube. And she basically released this, it's not even a sponge, it's kind of like a powder puff. So you guys know, like the Laura Mercier, the little powder puff that comes with her translucent powder, kind of reminds me of that, but basically her selling point was that it was meant for foundation, like liquid foundation, powder, pretty much everything that the Beauty Blender does, this Blendiful sponge does as well. I don't want to call it a sponge because that's not what it is, but it did come like this. It just says Blendiful. In the back, it says no harsh lines, XO Tati. And then it says cleaning instructions, machine wash and dry in delicate laundry bag or gently hand wash into warm soapy water. Rinse thoroughly and blot dry. Do not bleach, do not dry clean. 100% polyester. You get one of these Blendiful things, and this is the bigger one. And then you get a smaller one, and it's in a little heart shape. The Tati Beauty one was $18, that's before shipping. I think it ended up being $22, and then the Beauty Blender is $20. So it ended up being a little bit more than the Beauty Blender, but you do get two. But I think for the most part, I won't even really be using this one. So it ends up kind of being almost the same price. This one's just a little more, and I've seen reviews on just the Blendiful, so I don't want to do just a review on that. I actually want to do half my face using the Beauty Blender and half my face using the Blendiful, just so you guys can really compare the two. If you guys are familiar with my channel, you guys would know I usually don't apply my primer using my beauty sponge. I never do that, so I'm mostly gonna focus using these two things with my foundation, my concealer, and my cream contour, and also my translucent powder. So for primer today, I'm going to use my Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer. I'm gonna use this all over my face, and then I'm gonna go in with another primer after. Okay, so then I'm going to use for my pores, I'm going to use the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I've been using this literally, I think, the last 5 videos now, and it just hasn't gotten old for me, so. Alright, so now that I have my primers on, I'm going to go into foundation. Okay, so I'm going to use 2 foundations today. I'm going to mix the e.l.f. Flawless Finish Foundation and the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation. All the details will be listed down in the description bar. Don't mind my dog, just ignore that. So I'm just gonna mix half and half on the back of my hand and apply it with a brush. First, I'm gonna go in with the Beauty Blender since I know and love it, and then I'll go in with the Tati Blendiful. I'm gonna apply the Beauty Blender side on my right, so. So now I'm going to go into my Tati Beauty sponge. I'm going to call it a sponge. Fuck it. I can't just be calling it a Blendiful. It's just not going to happen. And I heard everyone really likes it when they tap it in rather than like swipe it. I guess I can do both. So I can't really tell the difference. And on the sponge, it doesn't look like it absorbed that much, like at all. Usually the Beauty Blender absorbs so much. So back with my Beauty Blender. I will say that with the beauty blender, always, no matter what beauty sponge it always does take me a little while to just dab it. And I've heard multiple makeup artists say that with the beauty blender, in order to make it look super seamless, they do have to go at it for a little while before it starts looking like fully, like evenly distributed and like flawless and seamless and no streaks. And even though it's a sponge, sometimes you will notice like it doesn't blend out properly, which sometimes, if you guys notice in my videos, I'm always like this, because if I don't look super close, after I look at myself really close in the mirror, I'll notice like some splotchiness from it. So yeah, that's just something to know about the beauty sponges in general, not just beauty blender. Okay, so now we're gonna go in. I don't know if you guys can see, but right here with the beauty blender, it left the splotch like I was telling you guys, right? You guys see that? And I always leave this like this. I don't put any foundation there. But do you guys see that? So that's kind of like what I was talking about. I just looked super close at myself just to compare both sides. And the side that I did the beauty sponge with, it just left a little bit of splotchiness here, like it didn't blend out fully. And you guys saw how hard I was going with my beauty sponge, and it still left a little splotch. So that's what it does. It doesn't leave streaks because it's obviously not a brush, but sometimes it'll just leave splotchiness where it looks like you just dabbed it a bunch of times and it doesn't blend out all the way. It doesn't distribute evenly. It kind of sits there and it's just like spotty. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with my e.l.f. concealer now. I'm also gonna use both of these. So let me just use this. There we go. Okay, so I have that on. Okay, so that's that side, and I'm actually going to use this side. I'm gonna use this side. Can I fold this? I can. Okay, so I'm gonna fold it and use the clean side for this. This is kind of not blending that part right here. It could be because I let it sit a little too long, so it's now getting a little bit harder to blend the concealers. That could just be my fault, but I'm gonna try to blend it out here. And let me just do this. I let it sit way too long. Oh no. Let me do the swipe that she says. Okay, that took care of it. I kind of let it dry a little too much, so it kind of was hard to blend out with my Blendiful. That was my fault, but I did use the swiping motions when I was trying to blend it out because it was really like dry at that point, and it still blended it out completely. They look almost identical, like I can't even tell the difference. The only thing you will notice when I do a comparison, my nose is rubbed off completely. Nothing ever clings onto my nose. That's just a personal issue I have with foundation. Nothing clings to it. So for bronzer, I'm going to use my Fenty Beauty matchstick in Mocha. So the reason I want to use this, I'm going to apply it straight onto my cheek, is because these are a drier formula. Normally for these, I have to apply it on the back of my hand, mix it in with a brush, put it on with the brush, and then go over it with my beauty blender. Now I'm going to just put it directly and go over it with my beauty blender and the Blendiful and see which one really blends it out. This is a drier formula, so I'll be very impressed if the Blendiful can blend this out seamless and make it look like it's skin rather than a contour. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I learned my lesson. I'm gonna go in one at a time. So for the most part, after blending, it doesn't look like there's much left of the bronzer. You saw how thick it was, and like the color was like much darker than me. And now that I blended it out, it looks like the Beauty Blender mostly absorbed all of it. So that's that side. Okay, there we go. So that's that side. Now don't judge it too much because I still have to clean it up, but do you guys see the difference between this side and this side? This side, like the Beauty Blender, like completely made it go away. And this side, it actually blended it out to the best of its ability. Again, this Fenty Beauty Match Stick is super hard to blend out just because of the formula. It's so dry. So after that, I'm gonna go in with translucent powder. I'm gonna go in with the Huda Beauty Easy Bake translucent powder in Pound Cake. So let me take this. So I'm gonna let that bake just really quickly because I don't like this Huda Beauty to sit too long because it kind of like leaves a stain. Okay, so now I'm gonna dust this off. I'm actually gonna go finish the rest of my makeup and I'll go over my thoughts and everything and zoom in a lot closer so you guys can see the comparison between the two. So I will be right back. Okay guys, so I'm finally back. I did the rest of my face. It was all powder, so I just used brushes for that. And this is what this looks like. Let me put my hair back. So this is the side with the Beauty Blender. And then this is the side with the Blendiful. So personally to me, they look very similar. I almost can't tell which side is which. So the major differences between the two are, or let me say the pros and cons between the two and the differences between the two. So pros of the Beauty Blender, you can use it every day. You don't have to, you can deep clean it right before you're about to use it. You don't have to wait for it to dry. You can find at your local Ulta, Sephora, wherever online. So those are just some pros. Oh, and also a big con that I mentioned in the video was that with this, you guys know, if you guys use every edge of your Beauty Blender, it's for me a huge con. I hate that I feel it on my fingers. Like I feel the makeup residue on my fingers. Like it goes in my nails because of so much dabbing that it goes in my nails and I can just feel it. With this one, since it's clean on the other side, you're not getting that makeup foundation feel on your fingers from blending. So that's just a con for the Beauty Blender. And then also another thing I noticed, the finish is pretty much the same, but with the Beauty Blender, it does take me a lot more pouncing to do than this did. So this was really quick. Like I was just dabbing and you're done. Like it takes about like 10 seconds on each part of your face and then you're done. So less pouncing. The Beauty Blender does take a lot more work for it to work in and spread evenly. And even then, you guys did see that on this side of my forehead where I used the Beauty Blender. It left like a splotch. So you just have to work it a little more and a little better. Two pros and cons of the Blendiful. Number one would definitely be that you get 2 immediate uses. So if you're in a rush and you forgot to wash it or put it in the washer, you basically just have 2 uses, this side and this side. If both of them are really dirty, I wouldn't use it. I mean, I know a lot of people would, but I personally wouldn't. I always need my Beauty Blender, whatever I'm using, my brushes, this to be perfectly clean. I don't need any like foundation residue on it. So the fact that I'd have to go ahead, put it in the laundry or deep clean it and then wait for it to dry and do all this extra stuff, like I would be annoyed with it and I'd just reach for my Beauty Blender in that case. Like I don't have time to be like waiting for it to dry. That was the only con. Like I said, this cut my time in more than half to blend out my foundation and concealer. I was done in about, I would literally say 10 to 15 seconds on a specific part of my face. I didn't have to sit there and dab for hours. I always have to do that with my Beauty Blender and I absolutely dread it. So yeah, that's pretty much it guys. That's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm sorry I was all over the place. It's just really a lot harder to film doing half your face using one product and the other using another. That was super hard for me. I've never done that, so sorry it was all over the place. I'm gonna try to edit this to the best of my abilities. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will catch you guys next time.